we're going to get right into making a box with this box joint jig we made in the last videos, and I'll leave a link to that down below. So let's just jump into it here. We need a 11.5 inch deep box by like 35 and some inches, 35 and a half by 11 or 12. I've already made the wood to those dimensions. I've planed it, milled it, so we're all set there. Just some pine boards we're going to use for this one. This box is going to get painted, nothing fancy. So our first step here is, I'll show you, we're going to put our blade just a touch over the width of our boards. So let's do that. So we'll go ahead and raise this blade up to just barely a hair over, because we'll sand that down to make it exact. So there we go, touch over, and now we'll get our board in position and clamp down, and we'll start making our cuts. So we're going to start our first cut with our board right up against our pin. So we got our board on here. Yes, it's a bit tall, but for a simple jig, I think it'll still work. We've measured our blade. We're going to go ahead and clamp this on, keeping it nice and flat. We'll start things up and make this first cut. So we've unclamped our board, brought our whole thing back, and now we'll go ahead and put it over that key there. And we'll go ahead and clamp it, and we'll run it again. We have nice little finger joints curring. We're going to keep going now. So we started with this one this way. In the interest of keeping it, because we have this little one here, and this will get filled in by the other piece once we do that one. And let's go ahead and show how we do that. And then just to note, I would flip this and start at the exact same end I started the other one, but we'll do that in a bit. I want to show you how we do the other ones first that match up to this. So we're going to go ahead and put this one on here. And you'll notice we flipped it around. So this is that initial key. We started with this up against here, and now we flipped it so that we get this part cut out right there. Hopefully this makes sense in 1 second. Going to put our short side piece up against that. We're going to go ahead and we would run that through. So again, we had our sliver here, and that should fit perfectly in with this. Let's see how these line up. And it was a little bit off on both ends, so we were shifted over just a little bit. So I will probably have to redo this piece, but I'll show you what I just came up with that I think will help us get it on, because see, we're cut too far that way a little bit, and we're cut not far enough that way. So let's do this one again, and I may have to just simply remake this panel. As far as fit, though, we're really good. So let's go over and show you the trick I just thought of, and we'll see if that fixes it. So what I've gone ahead and done here is I just went and cut a piece of wood, and I ran it through once. Now I flipped it like this, and where this helps me out is now I can take this piece, the one that I need to put up against here, and where I was having trouble before, and I probably got off, is when I was swapping out the pieces to get it just right. And now I don't have to do that. I can clamp it So as you can see, they're a little proud, and for some reason this isn't lining up exactly. So I don't know if the width, I haven't figured out why it shifted over like that. So I'm going to do some looking and see if I can figure that out. And may end up just pushing, it doesn't have to be exact. Maybe I'll just use these and put it right through a table saw and square it off. So You can always fix the mistakes. So we'll think about and see what we need to do here, okay? Give me a moment. So now that we've got our clamping configuration up, let's go ahead and take it out of here. And I'm going to go ahead and start gluing it up. Let me interject here real quick. As you'll see in the video here, I am going ahead and making sure the box is square. I've got everything fitted. I didn't show cutting the rest of the fingers because basically clamp it on, run it through the same way, kind of boring. And I didn't figure out why it wasn't lining up. I'll show you how I fix it here in a bit as to the box itself. And if you have a comment as to why that may not have lined up for me, go ahead and leave it down below. And I'll take that into advisement, and any other watchers, viewers can go ahead and take a look at that. So let's jump back in here and get to gluing this up. So what we're going to do at this point is we're going to go ahead and coat all of these joints up really well. So I'll probably just take like that one off, or this top one maybe, because it's a little snugger. We're going to start with probably these two, try to get that, and get it all done quick, get it back in the clamps and let it dry. So I'm using Boss Dog glue for the first time. I'll have more info on this as I use it and can review it. I'm just going to put a little there, a little bit on my brush. Then we're just going to go these two off. I'll do these next. I mostly just felt it was easier just to work with 2 joints than 4. Let those go. The glue says I only have to wait a half hour to take it out of clamps. I'll probably wait a little longer. It's about dinner time. I'll go do all that. Probably come back, glue up these 2, let it sit for a few hours. Just to point out, my joints are not perfect. You saw that was kind of a mess. Did I have all the clamps? Yes. Did I have the glue in the brush? Yes. Did I have my corner clamps that I all of a sudden decided to use? No. Glue ups can be stressful. you try to plan as far ahead as you can and have everything available. I didn't, but I still made it work. So we're pretty close to square. This side might be a touch out, but I did add another clamp here to go ahead and pull this into square, hopefully, because I couldn't get it to rack. Could be because this side isn't as tight. I don't know. In any case, we'll be back. We'll do the other glue up, and we'll go from there. So even though the glue's not fully dry, I did decide I wanted to get the next parts done because I do have two more pieces I need to glue, a bottom and a little lip on the top. So what I've gone ahead and done is I took a block plane, and I've gone along these just to get them so they're nice and smooth. They're very, very close. Now we're going to go ahead and do some sanding. Let me grab a mask. We're going to sand the whole top of this. So just a quick sanding. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take it to the table saw, and we're going to go ahead and we're going to run it through this side against the fence and get this bottom side nice and square and at the distance I need. Probably going to look to cut off the small finger here just to make it nice and even. And I think that will give me what I need. So I just want to show you here outside. I mean, there's a small lip there, some saw marks, but other than that, this box came out. I think there's another one right there. Really well. Sits nicely. So let's go ahead and get on to the next step that we're going to do for the bottom. So what we're going to do now is we're going to take this rabbiting bit, which is 3/8 out, and it's a 1/2 inch deep. I believe my bottom is, it's like a 1/2 inch MDF that was laminated. It basically came from a cabinet shop, so it's a little bit closer to 5/8. I'm going to do this in a couple passes, go ahead and get our 1/2 inch total, measure, cut our bottom, and see how it fits, and then maybe go a little deeper if I have to. So okay, it's a tight fit, but we know this is square from cutting it. So what we're going to do is we're going to make it fit in here. I did round off the corners with the scroll saw, and now we're going to go ahead and try to spread that apart. But I think before we do that, we're going to go ahead and just put some glue on it so that way when we get it in, it's set. Are we taking a little bit of a chance? Maybe, in thinking that we can't get it, but I think we'll get it. So I think we're just going to go ahead with it. Before we do that, I'm actually going to sand the inside because it'll be easier to do. So I'm not going to show you that. I'm going to do some sanding, get her at 120, then I'm going to pop this in.
A few moments later.
I mean, it's wedged in there pretty good, but we'll just add the weight to give it a little more. We'll let that sit for at least a half hour, if not overnight, and then we'll come back and we have to do the outside finishing, so clean up these and get the outside sanded, And then there's a lip we need to add and probably do some round overs on it or a chamfer just to smooth out the edges a little bit. So let's get you caught up. I did it probably the hard way. I tried a flush trim saw like this, but there really wasn't enough lip there, so I was afraid I'd dive into it. And then I couldn't think of any other way, so I threw some 40 grit on the random orbital sander, and I just worked my way through it. So it has taken me quite a while. With the 40 grit, we got all four corners sanded down pretty close. There's still a little bit on some of them, but we're going to clean that up here right now because we're going to take all this off. We're going to set up for sanding, and we're going to start running through the grits. As you see here, once we got this out of clamps and everything, we went ahead and did a round over on all of it. All the corners, make them not sharp. And then as you can see here, we sanded it. Now I sanded it to 180 or 120 grit. So remember we did these at 40? I went ahead and went to 80 on the whole box, except for the bottom because it has this already pre-finished veneer on here, and I didn't want to go through that, so I'm just leaving that how it is. It's going to be painted anyways, and that's all set to paint. And then I went to 120 on the whole box to get a nice smooth, including the round overs. So round overs, sanded, our box is complete. I didn't go into too much of showing that stuff. Those are skills that are in other videos, other people. So this box is on its way to my mother-in-law to get painted, I believe pink. And it's got a purpose. It is going into a food shelf to hold some products for people. So I believe I'll get some pictures of that, and I should have them before this video is out, and they should be right here. So if you want to see more videos coming up, go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button. And thanks for watching.